feel as though if you are a single woman and you have multiple kids by multiple men, you do lose value. And the reason why I believe that you lose value is because that is a bigger responsibility on somebody else coming into or dating you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Do you think it's the same way, or do you feel like there's a chance that you don't lose value if you have one kid versus 4?
No, I feel like you definitely lose some value if you have a kid as a woman, because if you're not with that baby father, then you lower your chances of getting a high value male. Okay. Now, there are some outliers out there. Don't get me wrong. There are women that, still will attract, a high value male. Look at Sierra, for instance. She's with Russell Wilson.
Right.
Russell Wilson is a high value male. He makes money, take care of his kids. So yeah, I consider him a high value male. Right. But for the average Joe, or the average whatever you call
person.
For the average person, yeah, you definitely lose value, I believe.
So why would you think you lose value as in a man's perspective?
From my experience, right, I know that the love or the experience that a woman gets from the father is kind of hard to match. It's kind of hard for them to get over that type of love. You got to think about it like this woman dedicated her body, her time, or her emotional state to have this child. It's a lot that's involved having a baby.
Yes, there is.
To give a man a kid, that's like the greatest gift that you can give a man.
Right.
So if she already gave that gift to another man, it's like, yo.
Right.
You know what I mean? For me personally, it'd just be like, I wouldn't do it. Like, I can't do it.
Right.
Fortunately, I met you. You didn't have any kids. But yeah, I definitely think that you lose your value. Yeah.
So do you feel like, now here, the shoe's on the other foot, as a man?
Oh, you just gonna. That's it. So we done talking about women. So the whole thing was.
But no, I was going to piggyback off you. I do agree with that. I agree because, one, you're bringing a lot of extra stuff in the relationship.
Right.
That person got to deal with baby fathers.
You are the father.
Who knows how that relationship is?
Yeah.
Who knows how that person feels? I feel like there's more stuff that boggles you down as a woman versus a male. Because as a woman, not only do you have to worry about your children, you got to worry about the father of your children. So in case he has a problem, or if there's a problem, or even the guy that you're dealing with. Because if he doesn't have any kids, and now he's taking on the full responsibility of 3 kids that are not his, that to me, to be honest with you, is not his responsibility. But we've talked about that in other conversations. And
we talked about that in other conversations, but it's definitely still a good topic. We never dove deep into the conversation, so I guess today we are.
Before we go into that, though, I do want I want to speak on the male point of view. Don't skip over it, because I see what you're trying to do.
I'm not going to skip over, but can we stick on the women a little bit?
Sure.
Damn.
Sure, we're gonna get to the men though. Go ahead.
I'm ready for the men. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's a lot of female manipulation out there.
I agree.
That'd be like, oh, well, a real man will accept me and my kids, this, that, and the third. And like, I'm not taking a shot at anybody that's a stepfather. I had a stepfather in my life. He was great to me. He did a lot of things. He taught me how to be a man. So I'm not taking no shots at a stepfather. But it couldn't be me. You know what I mean? It couldn't be me for the simple fact is that with me not having my kids, I'd be damned if I'm going to take care of somebody else's kids. Because I would never want my biological kids to be like, yo, like, you wasn't in my life, but you did everything in your power to raise kids that's not even your own. I would never want my kids to feel that way.
I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, I agree with that, including if you have children and you're not taking care of your kids, but you're taking on responsibilities that did not come from you.
Right.
I feel as though that is like kind of disrespectful.
Kind of disrespectful in what way?
As a stepdad, if you know what I'm saying, if you step it as a stepdad, that's what I'm saying. It's disrespectful to your children, including like the kids that you have birthed. These are people or kids that had nothing to do with you. You were just actively involved.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I feel as though that's really disrespectful to your kids. Because it's kind of like, okay, you can play daddy over here, but you can't play daddy with me. When you met me, I didn't have any kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I made it very clear that I wasn't going to have kids until I found the person that I wanted to be with, who wanted to be with me, who could take that decision and make it be for the rest of their life, not just right now. So I didn't have any children for that reason, and I made a conscious decision. That was on me. Expecting somebody to take care of your children because you happen to have these kids is not. I'm trying to put it the best way I can. That's not. You shouldn't be thinking that way. Put it that way. Because it's not their responsibility. They're dating you. Yes. Do they have to accept your children? Yes. They need to accept that you have children. Like acknowledge the fact, got kids, had kids.
And I can't accept it.
Right.
I can't accept somebody else's kids.
Right.
Because
they're
kids
raised
are
differently.
fucking annoying. And you know, like I don't call me dad because I'm not.
Right.
The fuck, like for real. Like I'm that type of person. I can't deal with it. Like I wouldn't be able to deal with somebody that had, like, if you had kids, I would not have taken you serious. I'm sorry. Like that's just me. I can't deal with somebody else's kids. Again, I stated earlier, I have kids of my own that wasn't raised in my household.
Right.
So I'll be damned if I'm going to take care of another man's kids because kids are fucking annoying.
Now, what if they use the excuse of like, oh, it wasn't my fault. It happened. It was a mistake. It was this, it was that.
You got kids.
You know?
I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm not taking you serious.
A lot of people will say that. Like, oh, well, it's not my fault.
The only, like, basically, if I never met you and I was like 50, you know what I'm saying, and dating still, and I met somebody that had a grown-ass man, you know what I'm saying, as a kid, or a grown-ass woman as a kid, will I be able to date them? Of course, yeah, because it's not in a household.
Right.
I'm not dealing with no teenagers. I'm not dealing with no newborns, no toddlers, not even no young adults. Like I'm not dealing with that. So yeah.
Well, they're raised differently too, because it goes according to the father and the mother how they're raising. So at the end of the day, it's like your input wouldn't really matter.
Yeah. So like imagine, right? Like, well, I can't fathom being in a relationship with a woman that has a kid and she's taking input from another dude on how to raise the kid that's in my household. Right. Like, nah, bro. Right. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you're not about to come in here and try to, you know, oh, don't do this to my kid, this, that, and the third. Nah, your kid lives here now, bro. You get what I'm saying? Like, nah, I'm not.
And that's usually an issue.
So it would be an issue. It would be a big issue for me. You know, like a lot of people may bang me up in the comments for that, but it is what it is. You know, people have their preferences, and women with kids is not mine.
Right. And I get it. At least you're admitting that, like, hey, that's just not it. Because most people will be like, oh, I could probably maybe tolerate it, maybe I can't. So now getting to the point I really wanted to get to.
I knew this was the agenda.
If the shoe was on the other foot and the guy had kids, does that lower his value?
Yes, it does lower their value. If you have a kid, you lower your value. I remember when we first started dating, you was about to not fuck with me because I had kids. So I definitely know that it lowers your value.
I was.
It is outliers out there, just like it's outliers out there for women. If you have a kid, no matter if you're a man or a woman, it definitely lowers your value because nobody want to take on that responsibility. Imagine a young woman that's successful, she's in college or whatever, and she's doing her thing, young entrepreneur, but still feminine. You get what I'm saying? She still carry herself well, like a woman, and then she get with you, and you got kids. You got that. It's not as maybe not a burden on you, but it's a burden on her because that's an extra responsibility. It's already so hard in America to live. Like I went to the grocery store the other day and organic lettuce was $6. Like, fuck out of here. Like, I'm not about to be with nobody, you know what I mean, with kids and groceries are this high. So yeah, it definitely lowers your value. No matter if you're a man or a woman, if you have a kid.
I agree, because the reason why I felt the way I felt, because I did experience men who had children prior to in my dating experience, and I had to deal with the baby moms. And my biggest thing is I don't got time for this. Like,
Right.
I'm too old. I can't. I'm not about to go back and forth with, well, you can, and she said, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not about to do all that.
Right.
So that was like my biggest thing. And I even asked you that question, in our date, because I really wanted to know certain things, because at the end of the day, if I knew, okay, if I'm going to take this chance, but there's certain things that I'm not going to tolerate.
Yeah, you asked me on the first date, like, did I have kids? And I'm just like,
Yep.
yeah, I do. The fuck?
Yep. You told me you had kids, and I asked you how your relationship was with the mother of your children, because I wanted to know how that situation was.
I think I said one was cool, one was bad.
Yeah. You
I
said
kept it real.
Yeah, you said you did.
I kept it real.
Yeah. And I was like, all right. But I also asked, because a lot of times you got to ask the extra questions, like, y'all still have a relationship? How are you still seeing them? Are you still, because
I answered your questions, like I felt like your questions was heartfelt.
Right.
And the vibe was right, and it wasn't like forced.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, we had a good time, and we was talking about futures, and then that was brought up. I'm just like, all right, well, let's talk about it.
Right, because I feel as though having those uncomfortable conversations early on determines whether or not a person should move forward or they should back away.
But what do you feel about men? Do you feel like it lowers men value, or?
I do feel it lowers your value, including if you're a woman with no children. That to me is it puts you in a different pedestal. Because as a woman with no responsibility really besides themselves, now you have to share a space with a man who has to share space with children. So now that is a hard situation or a hard pill to swallow, as well as the realization of, okay, if I have children with this man, is he going to have the same experience as he already had? Or is this a new experience?
Right.
Because that was like my biggest issue, like, in the dating game, because I was like, I'm gonna have my first kid. This person gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I've done this already, so I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? So it put me in a position where it's like, I don't want to have to experience that. I want someone that's gonna jump into this boat like, we in this together. Never experienced this before. One time, my best friend at the time, she used to say all the time, like, Tiff, you're single. Like, you shouldn't have to go through someone with children. And
your best friend was absolutely right. Yeah,
she was right.
Yeah.
And when I told her that you had kids, that was her biggest thing was like, Tiff, like, I was like, and I get it, but I was like, it's different. It's a whole different vibe, and 110% we were correct.
So you took a chance with me. Now you got a ring on your finger. You got a house, and we about to have our second son.
Yep.
So so things, there are outliers out there.
Absolutely.
However, it lowers your value.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm gonna act like I'm a commenter that's watching this video.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you a question, because just hearing what you said, somebody's probably going to ask this in the comments below. So you settled because your thought process was to not date a man with kids. So you got with me. So did you settle when you got with me?
So I can say, yes, I did settle.
Oh shit.
But on that, there's a comma after that.
Oh.
The settle is not settling beneath me. The settling is I saw potential for better and what it was. I wasn't settling with somebody who had 5 kids and he didn't have no job and he's sitting at home on his mama's couch. That I didn't settle for that.
That hit me where it hurt.
When it comes down to quote unquote settling, I always tell people that word settle never sits well with people. But the issue is, what are you really settling on? Are you settling on somebody who doesn't have potential to go anywhere? Or are you curving certain things? I curved. So there might have been, okay, you have children. Okay, cool. But if you ain't had no job, I ain't about to curve that. If you didn't have yourself together, I'm not curving that. Yeah. So there are certain things curved.
So if a man has a job but got kids, then that's better.
Has a job and kids? How many kids are we talking about?
Well, you know me, I had 2.
Right, you had 2. Right.
Yeah. So like, what is the cutoff? So say if you had 2 selection of men, right?
Right.
You had one with kids but had a good paying job, and you had one without kids but with a low paying or no job. Which one would you choose?
I'm picking the guy with the kids who got a good job, but I'm also interviewing a little deeper.
No, I'm asking you a question.
No, I answered the question.
So think about it for a second.
Right.
Think about it.
Right.
If you had to choose, I asked the question again.
Right.
If you had to choose a man, and think about this for a 2nd, you had to choose a man with a good paying job, good income, but he have prior kids versus a man with maybe a lower paying job. I don't want to say broke because
you said no job, so I thought no job.
A lower paying job, but with no kids. Which one will be up for grabs, or which one would you gravitate towards more?
I mean, I still would say the one with kids, and the reason why is because he has a better paying job, meaning he can take care of his children and he also can take care of his responsibilities. So that means dates, that means going out, spending time. He may not have no kids. And okay, that might have been a setback that has nothing to do with me. That's something, and again, potentially it'd be deeper than just that. But I would pick him off of that because of the income, the situation. He has a good paying job. He's taking care of his kids, allegedly, and he can basically take me out, and he can do, like, we can do things. Now, the other questions will come afterwards, but still that would be what I would look at. Because if I pick the one with no kids, that's great, but he doesn't have a really good paying job. So that means that's give and take. Are we going on dates? Are we doing things? Is he...
So you materialistic.
I'm not materialistic, but I think about my future. I'm not materialistic. Materialistic means I need to make sure that he can buy me a car and buy me all that. I'm not materialistic. But future-wise, can you take care of it? Because when we have children, or if we do have children, potentially can you take care of the household?
Right.
You don't have at this point in life, at this age,
no, I get
you
that.
don't have potentially what can be a long-term situation.
So, like, I don't blame women for that. So what you just described is you looking for a provider.
Correct.
And that's not really a bad thing. That's what femininity is.
Right.
And in today's society, it's not like it's back in like fucking
The 60s.
caveman days where a man go out, he hunts, he bring back the kill, and the person that brings back the biggest gazelle get the woman or whatever. Nowadays is financial. Is like, hey, do you make enough money to support me and potentially my kids if we choose to have some? Correct. That is definitely top on a woman's agenda when they're looking for a man.
Correct.
So I respect that, and I understand why you would choose that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I know what your answer would be if the tables were turned. If there was a woman,
ask me.
If there was a woman with, we'll say no job. We're not gonna say low paying. We're gonna say no job. Woman with no job, no kids. Right.
Right.
But then there's another woman who has 3 kids, but she has a very good paying job.
Right.
Which one would you pick?
I'm picking the one with no kids all day.
Really? With no job?
I don't give a fuck.
You won't get tired. You would get tired of her taking care of her?
Nope.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
Nope.
Oh, that's interesting.
Nope.
Okay.
Hell no.
Okay.
Because I'll be damned. I'd rather take care of a girl or a woman versus another man's kid. I take care of you all day. I spoil you, boo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then
like,
what happens when you get tired of doing that? Because she ain't getting no job. She used to you taking care of her. Now what?
Listen, it's still like, so it's different with men because like a woman can still be 50-50 with you without having a job. You get what I'm saying? If you home, if we potentially had kids or whatever, you taking care of the kids, you taking care of the home, you taking care of my needs, you taking care of other things, then that's 50-50 for me. Like you don't have to really work like that. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't look for somebody. I don't be like, oh, I'm not dating her because she doesn't have a job. Like if she got a dream and she is unemployed right now and she got ambition, she's able to hold a conversation. I mean, she's pretty. Then why not? You get what I'm saying? Like it's my responsibility to go out there, make money, this, that, and the third.
So you would be fine with taking care of her for the rest of your life?
To a certain extent. I mean, I'm not going to be taken advantage of. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want people listening to this thinking that I'm some type of Captain Save-A-Ho, because I'm not. If you don't have a job, it doesn't really matter. Like, that really doesn't matter to me too much. You get what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, why you don't have a job? If you have, like, a legitimate excuse why you don't have a job, then I can rock with you.
Well, what if she tells you, I'm just waiting for the right person to take care of me?
Then no, I'm not doing that. You get what I'm saying? That's why I said ambition. Because I'm not about to just save you from your poverty.
Right.
Like, I'm not about
Right.
to do that. If you had like a tech job or something, and then
you
you
just
know they
lost
laid
it.
off a whole bunch of techies or whatever, and you just unemployed right now, then I get that. You get what I'm saying? But if you just have no ambition, you just basing getting a man off your beauty or whatever,
Right.
then nah, I'm not that type. That's why I had to make it clear, like, hey, you got to have some type of ambition.
Right.
You
Right.
get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because I would think. Well, then again, with men, I guess it's different.
It's different with men.
I feel as a woman, I definitely couldn't deal with a guy with no job because if I'm working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And he's not working no jobs.
Yeah.
I find that a little funny.
Yeah, because you like it's nothing worse. And I saw this happen with many women that I've been surrounded by. And I mean, like, from friends, cousins, family, and stuff like that. If you were a man and you getting up in the morning, you see that man sitting on the couch, I mean, that's despicable.
Playing
You
video
know what I'm
games.
saying? I have heard women talk, you know what I'm saying, about men like that.
Right.
That is like bottom of the barrel right there.
Right.
That's close to having a baby on somebody.
Right.
That's disgusting. You
Right,
get what I'm saying? No woman want to be the one that goes out there, get the money, and then come back, because that will put that woman into a masculine frame. And you don't want your lady in a masculine frame.
Right. Reverses the roles.
It reversed the roles. You get what I'm saying? Now, if it was the tables were turned and we talking about a man, okay, the man is being the masculine. He's going out getting the money. How many females dealt with a man that loved to take care of them? You get what I'm saying? And they do get tired of him, and they they release them to the wolves sometimes if they don't have any ambition. But it is some type of bravado men get from taking care of anything. Like, we like to take care of shit. We like to be the one. We like to be the shoulder to lean on. We like to be, that person. And it's not just me. I know many men like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do feel it's always a different, like, the roles are reversed sometimes. Or, maybe there's some women out here, but like, it's fine if my man doesn't have a job because he's working on it or whatever,
Yeah.
And some men feel like, it's fine if my woman has 2 kids and she got a good job because at least she's doing what she got to do and I can step up.
It's all about preference.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
My preference is I ain't dealing with no woman with kids. Your preference is you're not dealing with nobody that don't got no income.
Well, both our preferences each other because we are currently married. So I'm just saying.
Just threw up in my mouth.
I'm just
Hate
saying.
love.
I'm just saying, okay? But I think that's always a good conversation.
Yeah.
I always hear people talk about that value and decrease, and then women feel a way about that, and they feel as though men are just being men, and they don't look at the responsibility on their half. They're looking at, as a woman, it's like, how dare you just judge me because I had these kids? I get all that. I just feel as though, again, we've said this in other videos, just dealing with the real issue at hand, not just dealing with what the outcome of the situation is the key to, like, save our generation.
Right.
So this won't be a problem. It won't be, you'll meet somebody or our kids will meet somebody who don't got kids, who's like, I'm just trying to make sure I have a career.
Yeah, I mean, like, if our son was to meet a woman that had kids and they feel like they can deal with that, then that's them. Like, I won't even come at my kids for doing that.
Right.
If that's their preference, if they feel cool about that, I mean, that's their prerogative. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be like, oh,
you shouldn't be doing that.
All men should think like me. Nah,
I agree.
I'm not like that at all. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with that. I feel as though 100% our boys, if they wanted to, hopefully, who knows by the time they are out here if the kids are even doing that at that point, So who knows?
Who knows?
So, but I think that is a good topic that usually it's taboo. A lot of people don't like talk about it, or they like talking about it and they're like attacking people, or they like saying, and by all means, you guys can say whatever you want to say in the comments. I know a lot of women are going to disagree and say, well, you shouldn't be judging this, judging that.
I'm excited to see these comments, because that last video, them comments be wild, man.
Yeah.
So we appreciate all the comments.
Yes. Appreciate people that watch and
appreciate people that watch,
share.
So please like, subscribe, comment, share the video. And yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. God bless.
Yeah.